So now that we've gone over some tools to overcome our barriers and our limiting beliefs and some negative thoughts that can come up as we try to get out of our comfort zone, I want the next section to be defining our what and our why. And I always think it's so important when we do have a goal to really dig deep and understand, like, why do I actually have this goal? Is it coming from a place of ego, or is it coming from a place of authenticity and like what I really feel like aligns with myself and my values? I want us to take some time to reflect on that, because this is going to be our guiding light as we take the steps out of our comfort zone. We'll always remember why. Why am I doing this, right? Because it can get really hard to do. Pause the video and think about why. Why is it that you want to start doing this thing? And once you do this, you might find that you realize the initial thing that you even came to this video for is actually not really something that you want to pursue, and you were only doing it maybe out of ego. And I know for me, when I wanted to switch into software engineering, I really had to dig deep there. I really had to sit back and ask myself, why is it that I want to change careers into software engineering? And I had to be careful about this, because that could have definitely been an ego-driven decision. But when I sat down and I thought about it, there were a few reasons, right? The first was I just loved coding. When I sat down to code for the first time, I was able to like concentrate on it for hours, and I was super focused, and I could never do that in any of my other careers. And I also thought about the financial security that it could give me for the future and any future family that I would have. It was an in-demand job, and that was another really big reason why I wanted to pursue it. And be a little bit of that was, I want to prove how smart I am, but for the most part, my whys felt very genuine and authentic to me. So you might realize after doing this that maybe what you initially came here for doesn't feel really aligned. If you're interested in maybe generating more ideas that do feel aligned, I am going to move on to that. But if you want to stick to what you initially came here for, skip to the next section. Here are some questions I want us to answer to really understand what you might want to do next. So I want you to imagine a day with no limitations, no time limitations, no financial limitations, just completely free. And what would you do with that day? Next, I want you to think about, when was the last time where you felt truly energized and excited? What topics or things do you always feel like you're discussing? What do you spend a lot of your time on Google or YouTube or reading about? Hopefully answering these 4 questions can help give you some idea of what you're truly interested in and what you might want to pursue next. Section 3, we are going to start taking some action. You've worked on overcoming some of your fears, or you have the tools to start overcoming your fears. Now that you've identified really the reason why you want to do this thing that you've always wanted to do, time to take some action steps. So when I was switching into software engineering, how did I actually start? And the truth is, I didn't immediately initially quit my job and go to a coding boot camp. It took a lot of little steps for me to eventually get there. The first thing I did was I looked online for a coding class, and I found Code Academy. It was a free online coding class. They had interactive courses, and I just started doing that after work, before work, on the side. They showed me that I enjoyed coding. The next thing I did was I found a community of women who had also changed careers and who were learning how to code. It was called She Codes. And being with and witnessing women who were going through the same thing or who had already changed careers into software engineering was so helpful in this process, because it really showed me that if these other women could do it, I could also do it. Okay, so first question, what small step can you take to move toward your goal? Now I want you to commit to this action. Write down, I commit to your action step by a date, a certain date that you want to complete this action step by. And you could do this a few times. So again, I signed up for the free coding class, and then I started attending She Codes meetups. And you can do this a few times, define each small step that you're going to take to move toward that goal. And once you've done a few of those smaller steps, maybe you'll finally feel comfortable to sit down and define a bigger step that you can take and commit action to. So next section is all about finding inspiration. This is really based on the principle of seeing to believe, and I think it's one of the most important steps you can take because it's really hard to do something that we've never seen before. It's definitely possible, right? There's always that example that people use of breaking the record for fastest running mile. Before that individual broke that record, no one before that had been able to break that timing. After he did it, a bunch of other people realized, oh, this is possible, and they were able to do it. So first, we're going to use ourselves as an example. Think about a time where you yourself overcame a fear and did something that you didn't ever think was possible. List out people who have done what you're looking to do and identify the ways that you're actually similar to them. So for my example, I had a few friends who had switched careers into coding, software engineering, and that served as proof to me that I could also do it. And that really concludes all of the steps that you can start taking to get out of your comfort zone and ultimately give you the tools that you need to tackle anything that you want to achieve or do. And I want to emphasize the importance of consistency here, consistency in our practices to reaffirm our positive beliefs, consistency in continuously taking small steps, and defining those action steps, committing to a date for those action steps. Or I'll link my blog that goes over 65 ways of big and small to get out of your comfort zone. So if you've sat down and you've done all of these steps and your smallest action step still feels a little bit too overwhelming, you can use this list as an example. It's anything from just going out to dinner alone. That could be really uncomfortable for people. But once you start taking these steps, you develop so much trust within yourself, and you prove to yourself, I can do hard things. I can do things that make me uncomfortable. Please share what you learned during this. Write down what you've accomplished if you want some accountability. Write that down in the comments. I will include a few templates that I think will be really helpful for you in this process. But as always, I'm here for you. I'm so excited for you, and good luck.